It's Time Warner Cable's local edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. Joe Costa is with us today. He is the CEO of Hillsides. What is Hillsides, sir?
Hillsides is a multi-service organization working with kids as young as 8, as old as 18, who have mental health issues, special education issues. They're kids who are coming from a number of environments, some of them where families have been destabilized. Others, it's their own issues that the kids have that is creating a significant challenge for the family.
Tell us more about the kids. I know some of them live on site. Some may be, we'll call them outpatient if we can use that term, but really give us a sense of who they are, what their challenges are, their hopes, their dreams, their fears.
Well, in the course of this last year, we worked with 7,500 individuals, children, youth, and their families. The children present typically, what the universal thing about all these kids is that require some mental health services. Those services come typically because they've experienced some trauma.
So would it be depression, anxiety, or is it even beyond that?
It's typically depression or anxiety. There's impulse control issues because of those anxieties. There's anger management for many of these kids who experience significant trauma. Many of the kids are presenting with post-traumatic stress syndrome. So it's pretty challenging. There's been a number of interventions to try to address the needs of these kids, first in their homes, in the local schools, in their communities. But as those efforts have not really resulted in any improvement, then there's been an escalation, if you will, in services.
Have these kids been presented to the criminal justice system, or do you get them before that?
Yeah, these children are coming to us through the Department of Children and Family Services. They're not probation kids. Typically, however, depending upon the ability of the family to serve as guardian, there may be some court involvement.
So when we think about these children, we know that some of them may have educational needs beyond the standard, but I have to think some are just as bright as any other kid.
Oh, the fact of the matter is that all of them are. Typically, the children have an average IQ. They're not kids who have any developmental delays. They're really kids who have suffered a great deal of trauma in their lives. The great thing about that is that kids are extraordinarily resilient.
They are.
And when you provide them the resources, and not only for them, but also for their families, they rebound. And although they've experienced some trauma, they're able to sort of move beyond that.
But what about those families? Like you said, kids are resilient, they're malleable, their brains are still developing. My 7th grade daughter's teaching me that from her science class. But adults, we're not so malleable. Our brains have developed, and so
you make a very good point.
Right.
It's not easy for adults, but I've never met a parent in all of the 30 years that I've been working in this field who is not motivated to do well, not just for themselves, but for their child.
I have to think, and I know you love all your children, but is there one story, one success story that really touches you that you could tell us?
Well, there was a sibling group, a brother and sister that was part of our residential program. And every time I would run into these kids, their only plea was, you need to find me a home. These were kids who had been adopted at an early age. Their biological family really was no longer available to serve them. And working hard to find them a home.
And their adopted family could no longer serve them as well?
Correct. And again, it's simply because of the needs that they presented. But we were able to find them a great foster home and a mom who's been extraordinarily dedicated to these kids. It's always great to see them come back to the campus and visit with us.
His name is Joe Costa. He is the CEO of Hillsides. If you want to learn more about this organization, I know you take volunteers. The website is hillsides.org. I'm Brad Pomerance. It's Time Warner Cable's local edition.